This is Kelly Wentworth from Survivor San Juan del Sur, and you're about to listen to one of my favorite sources for all things Survivor. This is Survivor Talk with D&D. So find your flint, grab a bag of rice, and all your fishing gear, and let the bartering begin. Take it away, D&D.
Hello, Max.
Oh, video. We got video. Exciting.
Yeah, let's do video.
Okay, I'm going to use my good webcam then.
Okay.
The good one, which I use for special ladies and you guys.
All right.
Everyone else just gets the crappy computer one.
That's right.
Let me also put the shade down so I'm not backlit. How are you guys doing? Are you enjoying this bonanza?
It is crazy. Do you think it's going to help the finale? Do you think it's going to help numbers?
I think Survivor's audience at this point is sort of a fixed commodity. I don't think it's going to attract more people, but it certainly will make sure that there are no Survivor fans who miss this finale or who even wait to watch it on DVR.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, Tyler's boot got kind of overshadowed by it all.
That was rough. I feel bad for Tyler. Quite honestly, the whole season in one fell swoop has been overshadowed.
Yeah, that is true.
Hey, guy, look at you.
What's up?
Yeah, like we had Cass on Thursday, and she and David and I just said, okay, we're not talking about second chances until we're done with episode 12. So that was fun.
Hold on one sec. Let me get the... it's like a very weird angle.
Hey, Dwaine, did your picture shrink when he joined us?
Probably.
That's not a personal jab. I'm just saying it. My picture went down. I can't get full screen anymore.
It's okay.
No, it's not because you're like this big.
Really? Because I have you and Max side by side.
Oh, that's because you're the host, I guess.
Maybe. Somebody's drinking a soda or something.
There we go.
Okay.
Right now, Max looks like he's in a fish tank.
Oh, is it like a weird?
Well, your picture is you, and there's in this foreground. It looks like the bottom of a fish tank. Those little rocks with the moss on them.
Really?
Which is probably your kale salad or something. I don't know.
I'm trying to think. I don't see it in my my.
So I got a blue screen for him with the white pretend person in the middle. I don't have anything for him.
Oh. Well, I do.
How's my audio? Do I sound
Your
okay?
audio's great, yeah.
Okay.
You could be a little louder, but...
Actually, Dwaine, you're kind of loud.
All right.
For me, you are.
I think I'm coming in off my headset microphone.
There you go. That's better.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I'm good to go. I don't see myself.
See a video.
Are you seeing me?
I just see a picture of you. There's no video.
Oh.
Let me go up here and see.
So we don't really know for sure.
Oh, wait. Something's happening.
There I am.
There you are.
Okay.
There's Max. So how many shows have you done today?
You guys are the first of the day, but probably I think this is like the 7th of the week.
Wow. You're really putting yourself out there, aren't you?
Listen, man, an opportunity to talk about my two favorite subjects, Survivor and myself. Come on. I'm not going to take that. I mean, who cares about this second chance opportunity? This is just an opportunity for me to rant and rave for another hour.
Oh, okay. But you definitely want to be on Second Chances, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Listen, my time was short. There are not many people out there. I guess, Kelly, for example, is one who had as little of a taste.
Right.
Get just enough of a taste to make sure that you will never forget it, but not enough to satisfy you.
Right.
That will screw with your head for the rest of your life.
Right.
It's an itch I need to scratch.
Yeah. Speaking of itches you need to scratch, we just want to make sure you are wearing pants. Okay, good. There we go. We're all set.
I am.
Good. And you're sitting on a ball, I can tell, aren't you?
I am.
Nice.
And if it gets weird...
No. It's good. It's good.
Bouncing uncontrollably. It's just because I'm excited.
It keeps your back all nice and straight.
Well, listen, it's just another way that we're constantly training for Survivor.
Yeah.
I walk around with one of those grip strength things all the time.
Yeah.
I bring puzzles with me to the beach. I do memory games when I'm standing in line at the supermarket.
Right.
There's no such thing as downtime. There's no Survivor off season anymore.
Okay, so are you allowed to talk?
So
Go
when
ahead,
you walk
David.
when you walk into a line at the supermarket, do you immediately pick out who you want to align with and who you see as a threat and you want to vote out first?
Oh, of course. No, you're constantly playing the social game. It's like I think Shireen said she practices voting people out at work, and everyone's like, "Oh, LOL, that lady, she's sure." No, no, no. You're taking Survivor strategy and the social game into your everyday life, and you're trying to think about, is this an opportunity where I can learn more about how to better interact with people?
Right.
How I can learn to make someone feel more invested in a decision, or make someone feel like they're trusting me with good reason. It certainly helps your thinking about different sorts of social situations, but it makes you have a one-track mind at the same time.
So I think the best place to do it is the DMV
Oh,
because you're
God.
stuck for a long time,
Voting
and there
all out.
such a variety, such a buffet of people to choose from, including the tellers. The tellers, they're out first.
Most Isley Space Cantina. So yeah, I got this. I
Yeah.
could sit here and I could be working my core, working my grip at the same time.
Right. And if you, well, anyway, forget it.
Yeah, don't go down there.
I'm not going to go. That would be good for the warts on your feet. Put it in your shoe. You don't. Okay. Anyway.
Were we going to go there?
No. So can you talk season 30 very much?
I could talk season 30 up to what we've seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. So I just got to be honest with you, man. I was so hyped up for you on this season and just thought you were going to destroy everyone. And David and I battled for who was going to get you as our first pick. And it was Battle Royale. And then, well, you were there. What happened, Max?
Gotcha. Right?
Yeah.
LOL.
Oh, it was on purpose. What were we
It was
thinking?
all on purpose. This was a big, giant troll. What happened? Well, yeah, I certainly didn't go in there expecting that I would be done that quickly. Listen, my expectations were realistic, and I'm one of those guys who goes out early or who goes out fifth or sixth or fourth. Nobody wants me giving a jury speech, pleading my case for the $1 million. And I'm okay post-merge because I'm not a jacked challenge beast like a Joe or a Mike or even a Rodney or a Tyler. I can get by that middle part of the game. It's the first part of the game where annoying someone can get you voted out.
Right.
That's going to screw me over.
Right. Now, didn't you say that the whole naked thing was just the cameramen caught you as you were going into the ocean, and then they kind of made a big deal about it? Is that what happened?
Yes. I went skinny dipping once, and it was by necessity. It was motivated by hygiene more than anything else.
Right.
Not to say that I have any kind of problem with going skinny dipping. It's good times. We're all grown-ups, right? Yeah, for the most part, all of us, Rodney, he just had a birthday, so he's probably technically a legal adult now. I went skinny dipping not expecting it to be a big deal. And it was a big deal. It was such a big deal that they asked me to go back in the water and recreate my skinny dipping so that the helicopter could film me.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, I think I was told at some point by someone, I don't remember if it was another player or someone in production, that every time the helicopter takes off, it's $10K.
Right.
It's $10,000. That's an investment. That's an investment in my edit.
Yes.
And that's an investment in me. And when I see that, and when I also then have a confessional that's dominated by questions about my skinny dipping, and find out that my fellow tribe members are having confessionals that are dominated by the topic of my skinny dipping, it's a sort of feedback loop.
Well, sure.
Much of Survivor is a feedback loop. Obviously, the feedback loop that you're engaged in with your fellow players, but also with production. Trying to anticipate where they're going with things, trying to work with them as opposed to against them. Now, you have to do it within certain limits. You can't go overboard. And maybe I went further than I should have. I certainly know at some points I was playing the production game at the expense of the social game.
Right.
That said, would you prefer to, play the Survivor game and ignore the production game? There are significant downsides to that as well. That could blow up in your face. That can really hurt you. It can hurt your Survivor game, and it can hurt your reputation when the edit comes out and you find out that you've been, destroyed by a really negative portrayal that might in some way be a little bit of retribution for your unwillingness to participate in the production that you are a part of.
Oh, CBS wouldn't do that, Max.
Well, that's CBS, but
of course they would. Come on.
If you don't give what is expected of you, you will end up like Cowboy Rick. You will end up like Carter. You will end up like Tyler. Tyler played an amazing game. Tyler was an amazing strategist, an amazing physical threat, great social game. How much of Tyler did we see during this season? Not as much as you would expect for someone who played as well as he did. If you watch those Ponderosa videos, they're constantly saying, Tyler's winning this game. If Tyler lasts another 2 or 3 tribal councils, cash the check in his name. But where was he in the episodes? Tyler wasn't playing the production game. And to his credit, because it allowed him to last deep into the game. But, at the same time, there's that trade-off that you have to engage in.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely got that side of Tyler's game at the Ponderosa, in the Ponderosa videos. They were crediting him like crazy. And all of us were at home saying, who? Who is this person? Because all we got was him for 2 or 3 episodes, and his game started and fizzled out. And that's about all we got to see in the edit. And we know that there's more than that we're not seeing. But yeah, the Ponderosas definitely confirmed that he was playing a really good social game and worked really well. I got a question. You were what I consider a merge victim. It's happened to other people that are not as good, just as good, but anybody can be a victim of not the merge, excuse me, the shuffle. I call it the shuffle, the swap. Matt Bischoff, I thought, was a victim of that, and it could happen to anybody. It could happen to Mike. It could have happened to Rodney. It could have happened to anybody put in the wrong situation. So after that swap, how much time do you think you spent with the no-collars? Because I would think you could fit in really well with the no-collars. And that's how the edit made it look like you were separated from them the whole time, the rest of the episode.
I tried my hardest to crack through the veneer of indifference and nihilism that defined no-collar camp life. And in fact, you saw some of the evidence of that, me talking to Jen about astrology. Now, if you live in Southern California and you've done any sort of dating, you know that most attractive, young, hippie-type women have a fond interest in the subject of astrology. It's a safe bet that you can strike up a conversation on that subject, and within 15, 20 minutes, you're really grooving with somebody. Now, Jen is presented to me as A, no collar, B, she's in her early 20s, C, she professes to be a lifelong Survivor fan. So I think, okay, this is a great opportunity to talk about something that will combine, hopefully, some of her interests. Mm-hmm. And the story behind it is, I didn't know this offhand. The woman who I was seeing, we tried one night to combine some of our interests. We were looking up the astrological charts of some of my favorite film directors or movie stars. And then I said, hey, look up Richard Hatch. What's his astrological sign? And from there it went to, what's Parvati? What's John Cochran? What's Tony Vlachos? And it became this fun thing. So here I am out there trying to fit into a no-collar tribe when I'm designated a white-collar individual, and I'm getting a lot of crossed arms. Mm-hmm. I'm getting a lot of surly sneers and a lot of sort of, I don't want to talk to you, let alone play with you feedback. That's mainly coming from the two women. Will, on the other hand, wanted out of no collar. As we saw, as soon as the merge happened, Will looked at Rodney and said, get me out of here, brother.
Right.
He looked at me that way too. Only problem was this. At White Collar, before the swap, Tyler and I had been working really hard at a plan of action that would have us coming back together at the merge. Now, Tyler and I are working on this. Meanwhile, Mama C is already in Tyler's ear telling him she wants me out. So who knows whether or not this would have come to fruition. But the key to this plan was whoever ends up with Joe, vote Joe off. Whoever ends up not with Joe, vote Joe's allies off.
Yeah.
We saw Joe as the guy who could just go and go and go. And it wasn't just that he was good at physical challenges. He did that first puzzle in like 3 minutes flat.
Right.
And he's handsome. And he's sweet. He's got that baby face. This is the recipe for a Survivor disaster, for my game at least. Because if I'm going deep in this game, it's against people who are as unlikable as me, like Shireen. That's my plan. Now, I got a little too fixated on that. And so when Will came to me and said, man, I feel like I've been babysitting for the last 2 weeks. I'm glad to have a grown-up here, man. I'm glad to have another man here. I said, yeah, that's great. It's good to meet you. And shot the shit with him for a little while, and then promptly turned to Shireen and said, we vote out him first because they're not wasting an idol on him. Then we vote out Jen because she's horrible vibes. Then we get Haley, and Haley will be isolated. Maybe we play with her. Maybe we vote her off. Who knows? But we take the legs out of Joe's table. So I'm thinking that we can do this because Shireen and I have Carolyn, and that's 3. And Kelly is giving us good signs. We're all working on Kelly. But the whole time, little do we know, Carolyn's been building this seething resentment toward me since day 3.
Right.
Carolyn can't stand Shireen, has no interest in ever working with her again. So all this work, all these attempts to break through and sort of, make some sort of inroads into No Collar, I'll be the first to admit they were total BS. I didn't want to work with No Collar. I wanted to vote No Collar. I wanted to lose every challenge to the merge to protect Tyler and Joaquin.
Yeah.
Because I knew that if I got Will out, Shireen and I would have all the power in that camp. But that's resting on one key variable, Mama C. And Mama C is a wild card. We saw this last week. Mama C and Tyler were like the power couple left in this game. And she turned on him in a heartbeat. First opportunity she got.
That's the percentage of Survivor where you had a 33% chance of getting messed up in the game. Because if you'd have gotten Joaquin or Tyler, we probably wouldn't be talking to you right now. You might still be in the game, still be playing, but you got the one of the 3 that was going to look to play on a different side of the field, and it just messed you up.
Well, the thing that's amazing to me is when I look back at what I was doing on paper, or at least in the scenario that I was existing within, the reality that I was occupying, I had a great game. Unfortunately, that wasn't reality. Reality was a world in which Carolyn was so burned by that first vote. Nobody likes to see their name get written down. But God forbid you should be behind Carolyn having her name written down, even if you don't write her name down. If you tell the people you're blindsiding, vote Carolyn, it's as much, you might as well have wrote her name down yourself.
Right.
I should have said write my name down. I should have said write Shireen's name down. Carolyn did not respond well to that. She did not like being the decoy. And I have to own up. The vote that we were trying to do on the night I went home was the exact same thing we did on day 3. Shireen and I went up to Jen and Haley and said, we're done with Carolyn. We can't stand her anymore. She screwed up that challenge. Let's just vote her out and we'll worry about how we regroup from here. We have no intention of going back to White Collar. Shireen hates Tyler and Joaquin. She will not work with them. Let's get something going on here. We'll just ditch Carolyn. And that got back to Carolyn.
Right.
Of course, it was a decoy. It wasn't for real. But for Carolyn, even the insinuation, even using her name as the decoy, that is enough to get her to strike first.
Right.
And you know what? More credit to her. She's still in the game.
That's
right.
That's right. Probably going to make final 3.
Did you ever have a hint that she had the idol?
No, it's so funny. I looked for that idol, I'm going to say, at least 3 hours a day. Joaquin and I looked for that idol together. By the time we left White Collar, there was not a tree standing. We bashed and destroyed and hacked through every tree. Now, I have the clue. On day 2, I think. Joaquin and So were so bad at Survivor that I walked up on them and I said, hey, guys, what are you doing? And Joaquin said nothing. So said nothing. And Joaquin mumbled to himself, in a nook, you don't have to climb by where... And excuse me? He was just absentmindedly reciting the idol clue. And I said, say that again, or else the 3 of us will go back to camp and we'll tell everyone what you just said. And so they recited to me the idol clue. Meanwhile, it's been in Carolyn's pocket since I think that happened within the first 30 minutes of arriving on the beach.
Yeah.
Really?
The timing made it look like she had been kind of Hawkeye observing them. I think Carolyn walked up to, I think we got there. We put our bags down. Hi, I'm Max. Hi, I'm Carolyn. I think Carolyn then walked up to that tree and pulled the idol out and stuck it in her pocket. It was that quick. She knew. She saw that. And listen, we all looked in that tree. We looked in that tree a lot. Yeah. But did I ever think Carolyn had the idol? No. Even worse, I thought Carolyn was one of those old school players who wasn't into idols, because she would always say, guys, that idol is just going to mess us up, baby. We're not looking for that idol, baby. It's just going to cause divisiveness, baby. Wow. Let's just work hard in camp and win challenges, baby. And I'm like, oh, God, she's one of those. She's one of those people who just, like, doesn't want to play the game. And meanwhile, she's, like, sitting back while I'm out in the woods for 3 hours. She's like, ha-ha, look at that jerk off. Right. I got the idol. He's burning unnecessary calories. I'm going to send his butt home. Right. So, Carolyn, listen, I own up. I underestimated Carolyn. Carolyn is a gamer.
Right.
Jeff said before we started in pregame Ponderosa, he said, look around. We have more gamers in this cast than we ever have in 30 seasons or 29 seasons. If you are one of them, you know who you are. If you are not one of them, find one and latch on, because it is going to be game on as soon as we start.
Right.
To me, Carolyn, not one of the gamers. I was so wrong.
Wow. So let's get to David and I both have limited time tonight. I'm very sorry. We didn't know you wanted to do like you were willing to do a whole regular podcast. I'm really sorry about that. We would have made time. So we'll just have to get you on after the season's over. But so tell us about.
You won't be available after the season.
Well, that's true. He'll be on an island
for August. Yeah.
Right. Well, tell us about your wanting to get on Survivor Second Chances. What's going to be different? I know it's the same question you get everywhere, but tell us why you want to be on it.
About this next time out on Survivor is that I'm going to play a game that is a little less oriented around imposing my will upon my alliance, and a little more oriented around building consensus, bringing people together, meeting people on their terms, getting them to be a little more open with me and being a little more open with them. For me, it's really about, a more elegant social game. I felt very confident after that first vote that between me and Shireen, we had the strategic firepower and we had the third vote that would allow us to do whatever we wanted in this stage of the game and conceivably up until the merge. And that sort of confidence was deadly, because it allowed me to overlook my relationship with Carolyn, to underestimate her, and to allow her to form bonds with Tyler and Joaquin that ended up transcending and being strong. Oh, there's a child in the background.
Yes, it's David.
Transcending and becoming stronger than the bonds she had with me and Shireen. So I think it had a lot to do with feeling like if I survived that first tribal council in a position of power, I am set until the merge.
Right.
Now, that's a bad way to play because you become complacent. It's not that I wasn't gaming hard still. It's that I was taking more risks, I think, than I needed to. Case in point, after first tribal council, the name of the game for Shireen and I became, let's torture Joaquin. Let's make Joaquin lose his cool. Let's get him totally out of the game so that if and when we have to go to tribal council again, and knowing the history of 3-tribe Survivor, I was pretty confident that if we lost once, we could lose twice or 3 times or even more, that Joaquin had to go next. Now, of course, he made it difficult by sinking like 9 baskets in a row on that second immunity challenge, and by being one of the most charming and fun human beings on the face of the planet. But he was also really, really, really antagonistic toward Shireen. From day one, Walk and So sort of made Shireen and Carolyn feel like they were there on borrowed time. And as they were my closest allies, that was totally unacceptable to me. So it became about, pushing Joaquin, pushing his buttons. Now, pushing his buttons like that may have rattled him a little bit, but it also turned Carolyn and Tyler totally against Shireen.
Right.
And the sort of, listen, if everyone wants to know the origins of why people kept saying Shireen was so annoying, I'm not saying that she bears no responsibility, But the day we swapped, Joaquin started telling not only the members of the new Escameca tribe, but also the members of the new Nagarote tribe, Shireen is annoying. Max has her wrapped around his finger. You have to break those two up. At the challenge, he was whispering that to Jen. Wow. At the beach on Escameca, he was telling Rodney and he was telling Dan, Shireen is annoying. Shireen is horrible. Shireen is the worst person out here. She doesn't deserve to be out here. He was on a vendetta. He was on the warpath because we took out his girl So.
Right.
He was going to get us back. And guess what? Joaquin, you got us.
Yeah.
Joaquin got me back.
Yeah. So do you want to see Shireen on the second chances?
No, definitely not. She could come back for Heroes versus Villains or some other thing. Shireen and me on the same season, no good. No good. It's not good for my game. I know. I want to play with people I don't like so that I don't feel invested and I don't feel like I have any kind of connection or any sort of obligations to them. Shireen, I love you, babe, but you're on your own here. We're not playing together ever again. You know, one of the things that I think Stephen Fishback said in a podcast afterwards, I don't even know what that podcast's called. It's some off-brand. It's not like the A-Team sort of stuff like we're doing here.
Oh,
he said Max might have had an easier time if Shireen was not on his tribe.
Yeah.
And I sort of agree. But that said, I wouldn't have had as much fun.
I will tell you this. This podcast also said that.
Did you guys say that as well?
Oh, yeah, several times.
You know what? It's kind of consensus. You shouldn't be having that much fun. You know, I don't know if you guys saw the secret scene where there's like one secret scene where I'm like, Shireen's the most powerful, intelligent, independent woman I've ever met. And then Shireen's like, I didn't come out here to make friends, but I did. And his name is Max. I'm not saying we had a showmance. It was a very platonic thing, but we had a mutual appreciation society. And it's great to have a friend on Survivor, but it's also terrible to have a friend because suddenly emotion, which belongs nowhere on that island, factors into your decisions.
Yeah. Pretty much David and I agreed that if Shireen hadn't been there, you would have played a much different game because mostly what we saw in the edit was you and Shireen together all the time, totally unaware of what was going on around you. And so, you know...
Not accurate. Yeah, that's it just wasn't. That one
But that's
scene,
the way it looked.
Of course. Yeah, that one scene was actually the shot of us when we're standing there and the entire tribe is underneath the shelter. That was the first real conference that Shireen and I had in the 3 days at No Collar. We got there and one of the first things we did is kind of looked at each other side-eyed and said, we really shouldn't talk that much for the next few days. And Shireen peeled off and spent most of her time working Jen and Haley to magnificent results, right? It turned out that they liked her a lot when I wasn't there.
Right.
But the difference between Shireen in the game with me there and without me there is that with me, Shireen felt comfortable to be herself, to whistle and sing and talk about monkey balls and pooping in the ocean.
Right.
Because I made her feel okay. Because... I was saying the same weird stuff half the time myself. Right. And I was laughing and I was taking her seriously. When Shireen was isolated and on her own and then like chastened and sort of silenced, suddenly Jen and Haley love Shireen and they want to align with her. Right. And that I kind of felt was like a little hypocritical. You like somebody, but only when they're so scared that they can't be themselves.
Right.
But, that's the thing. Maybe being yourself is good for getting cast on Survivor, but not for playing it.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Because I agree that if Shireen wasn't there or if you weren't there, the two of you definitely would have played different. You'd have picked up on like Jen's vibes about astrology much sooner. You'd have changed. You'd have gone into a different social mode.
Oh no! I mean, with Jen, this is Jen. Like, this sucks. I hate this. As soon as Joe was not around, Jen and Haley were like not having a good time anymore.
Right.
And again, it wasn't. This is the thing that everybody loves to ship Survivor duos or trios. Like, oh my God, Jen and Joe! I want their little babies to have curly blonde hair and bad attitudes. I cannot do a falsetto. I'm sorry. But you're just out there and you make friends, and then you become sort of dependent on those friends because you're surrounded by people who are, for the most part, generally unpleasant to be around. They're hungry, they're paranoid, they're tired, and they're trying to defeat you in a game for $1 million. So if you have a person like I had Shireen, or like Jen had Joe and Haley, and that person is taken away from you, it could really mess with your head and it could really mess with your game. And I think a testament to Shireen's capabilities as a gamer is that she did not lose a step when I was gone. She didn't have a friend. She didn't have anyone who cared about her. She didn't feel attached, but she still had her game.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I agree. I think she's played a great game ever since she got left alone. But as a fan, you probably can't comment if you know what happens to it. But what did you think of Dan's advantage? As a fan of Survivor, did you like that?
I love the idea. It's just, it makes things so exciting. This season has had a lot of little exciting twists that make me as a fan perk up. I don't like the huge twists, the Redemption Islands and stuff like that. Even Exile, I think, sort of distorts the dynamic in a game that's a deviation from the true pure form of Survivor. But something like the vote doubler, like a weapon, like they could be a gun that can only be fired once, that's beautiful. And I love the idea that there is an idol in the game and a vote doubler. I mean, that there could be another idol that could be hid. Like, who knows? I mean, just imagine a sort of scenario in which, vote doublers become a regular thing and you have to worry at every vote. Like, you have to think like, oh my God, we're splitting the vote, but they might have a vote doubler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love it because it's so simple that he did not say it's an advantage in the next reward challenge or immunity challenge. It's just an advantage in the game. So Tyler had to dig to find out what it was, obviously. But I like it because it's so simple, and it may never get played. But the fact that it's there, it's already being played. They're already thinking about it, and they're already worried about it.
Yes, that's the thing. Advantages, no matter what they are, and especially in this case, because everyone came to that challenge and expected Dan to get a head start.
Right.
Or, a puzzle with 5 fewer pieces.
Right.
And instead
or
he's just standing there. And now you have to worry. Like every time tribal count, is it a super idol? Is it a vote doubler? Is it, people have talked about the vote neutralizer. I just kind of love it. It kind of turns it's a small little twist that makes Survivor that much more unpredictable. And
I like that Tyler went and figured out what it was.
Yeah, little bit of game on my boy T. Freddy. That's the thing. The guy had a game. He had a really great way of being subtle, so you didn't realize he was gaming. He was gaming hard, but he was doing it in this really finessed way.
Right.
All right, so you already answered part of my next question, which was the second part of the first question. What do you not want to see twist-wise in Second Chances?
I don't want to see Redemption Island. Definitely not. I don't want to see any kind of weird... when your torch is snuffed, Survivor is over.
I agree.
No Outcast twists, no Redemption Island. That's pretty much it for me.
But they're going to throw something at you guys.
Oh, I know. They're going to throw at us the challenges from Heroes versus Villains. There's going to be brawls. There's going to be a brawl on day one. It's going to be bring back the bag. It's going to be, it's going to be the most physical, violent, sumo at sea. Listen, when Jeff gets to bring together an all-star season and he gets to stack the cast with guys like Terry Dietz and Andrew Savage, you better believe he is going to have his Probst Survivor boner, his alpha male, like his total sexual ecstasy at seeing an oiled up Terry Dietz, like Greco-Roman wrestling Andrew Savage, and Probst's head explodes and the entire beach is covered in like money and hair gel and Botox. It's just like, it's going to be delicious.
So are you putting on any weight for this? Or are you going to keep your same slender figure?
Hey man, I'm trying, but I just can't put the weight back on. I went in my long history of trying to be on Survivor, which started around the time of Karamoan. I went from, get this guys, I'm 6'3". I was 153 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
When I started out. I was in the worst shape of my life. I was miserable. I couldn't lift a paperweight. By the end of 2012, even after I'd been cut from Karamoan, I got up to 200 pounds by training and eating like an animal.
Right.
This time when I played, I went out at 190. I lost 14 pounds in the game, another 7 pounds at Ponderosa afterwards, getting sick. It took me until just like last week to get back to 190. So I am barely at where I was when I played last time. I wish I had another 10 pounds on me because it really helps to have a little bit of padding and a little bit of fuel to burn when you're out there starving.
Well, Tony said he ate jars of peanut butter leading up to his season, so you can start doing that.
Maybe I need to do that. Just pints of ice cream. The thing is, though, I hate to say it, I am so distracted by this second chance campaigning nonsense that I've been totally thrown off my training regimen. I had a couple days last week around Wednesday when, it was just all about social media, podcasts, campaigning, and 2-3 days went by and I wasn't in the gym, and that's bad. Shame on you, CBS. We should be focusing on our families, on our jobs, and training like crap to go out and play. And instead, we're doing AMAs and podcasts and responding to every single tweet and pandering and begging and whoring ourselves out for a single vote.
Right. Yeah, I want to go back to Redemption Island because this has always been my biggest, not my biggest complaint about it, but it is a complaint that I have. Probst has always said fire is life in Survivor. And when your fire's out, you're out of the game. And yet, the fire went out, and you're still in the game. I always hated that.
He actually meant when your buff gets thrown in the fire, you're out.
So on Redemption Island seasons, they should have just thrown the buffs in and let them take their flame. That always just bugged me to death.
Yeah,
me to death.
There's something about Survivor that's just even on its own with no twists. And I'm sure there are a lot of fans who probably agree. A back to basics, no idols, old school Survivor. It might not be as exciting as some of the modern seasons, but there's something pure about that. It works. Now, some of the twists add these extra elements. I love idols. I love the sort of uncertainty that they bring in. And same with the vote doubler. But let's just keep it so that when you are voted out,
you're out.
You got to wait for another season to get your second chance.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, we know it won't happen, but wouldn't that be something if they didn't give y'all any idols on second chance?
Well, like what else could they throw at us? I wouldn't be surprised if they don't give us any food.
Yeah.
They've been given, a pot of rice. They hook you up with some coconuts. Nicaragua is completely barren. There's no bamboo. There are no coconuts. There's no palm fronds. Yeah. The three basics of Survivor existence, they throw out in the woods. Right. Production goes to Home Depot in Managua and buys a bunch of bamboo poles and chucks them out in the woods.
Right.
Goes to the supermarket, buys some coconuts, and they have some PAs chuck them. Whoa. And now in Cambodia, on the other hand, there's a reef. They can give us a Hawaiian sling and say, feed yourselves, like they've done in some of those tougher seasons.
Right.
So who knows?
If they do it like they've been doing it, Kelly Wigglesworth will think she's in a hotel with lots of room service.
Well, are you serious?
Compared to what they had season 1.
Oh, I can't wait for Kelly and Kimmy and Varner to get out there and say, guys, can I have my raincoat?
Yeah.
Can I have my sunglasses? Can I have a can of stewed peaches?
Okay.
No. I am adamant about this.
Okay.
Survivor now is much harder. When you get a pot, a machete, and a little bit of rice.
All right.
Granted, San Juan del Sur, a little bit of deviation where you could do a little wheeling and dealing and get your extra rice and trade and all that nonsense. But the first couple seasons, man, when they were decked out in head to toe with Reebok and had on their Oakley blades and stuff like that, and Colby had his furry hat.
Yeah. Well, in those earlier seasons, you could go up to production and work out some kind of deal. So, no, don't do that. So
it's just audio.
Here's what's going to happen. This is why Survivor Second Chances is going to be a much more physical season, as Max has said. You're not getting voted off. It's when your leg gets broke, then you're off.
It's a full medical evac season.
It's a full medical evac system.
And it's not 39 days. Yeah. It's till the last person standing.
Who will break their bone this week on Survivor?
Oh, God. I'm terrified now.
So it's going to be blindfolded challenges every other day.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hopeful that they don't do blindfolds 2 seasons in a row because that's really the ultimate nightmare.
Yeah.
I'm game for a gross food eating challenge.
Oh, sure.
Come on. It's time.
I miss those.
If they're wanting to make it a physical season, man, they've had some physical competitions out there. People throwing people on the ground, and they've had some tough ones. Ones.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't expect them to go easy on us this time. Not at all.
So, well, Max, any last words you want to say to to our listeners?
Definitely. You might think you know what I'm all about. You might follow me on Twitter or, even just based on the edit think, oh, I've got this guy pegged. But I think there is a lot about me that you don't know and that you haven't seen. And that might be hard to believe given that I was buck naked for a good portion of my episodes. But somebody saw something in me out there that you guys didn't get a chance to see.
That's right.
And that somebody's name is Jeff Probst. Because he put together with his staff and with the network a list of people from the last 15 years who he wants to have a second chance. And out of all those people, all the greats who have played this game once and haven't won, even all the greats in the Worlds Apart cast, you think about that guy Rodney, think about that guy Dan Foley, some huge, huge personalities. He called me. I showed Probst something last time that didn't make the edit because I was only in for 5 episodes. Now I'm going to show you guys what I showed him. I'm going to show you guys the game I played, the moves I made, and the big mouth, big personality nonsense that ultimately got me targeted. I'm going to show you guys that. And I'm hoping that I can show it to you over the course of 13 episodes as opposed to 5, because I think that you'll enjoy it. I'm not going out there to drop references to past seasons of Survivor. That's just something, if you hang out with me long enough, I'm going to do in the line at the supermarket or while we're driving to a restaurant. That's just who I am. I'm not going out in Survivor to be a walking encyclopedia. I'm going out on Survivor to play and to win. And I'm hoping that you'll get to see that there's more to me than just those references, than just the kind of goofy behavior with Shireen. I'm hoping you're going to get to see that I am a guy who can win this game.
All right. Well, if
I
you
love
play
that.
again,
I love that. Even if you think you've seen all of Max Dawson, you have not seen all of Max Dawson.
That's the truth, brother. I got a lot.
Because we didn't see what the buff was covering. Hey, the buffer's covering something. So.
Hey, man. Yeah, the beard too. Who knows what's
right.
under there?
Well, if you do play again, then I would definitely want to see a different game, and I would love to see you go far if you played again. So
thanks, guys. Me too.
Very
All
much.
right.
Well, this was a pleasure.
Thank you.
It's been on my list, my to-do list, to come and talk to you guys, and hopefully sometime later in the summer after I get back from Cambodia.
Yeah.
Well, unless they have us on press embargo, I'll get to talk to you again.
Yeah.
But, I look forward to it. I love the podcast, love the community that you guys have on Facebook.
Thank you.
I'll say this thing that I've been saying everywhere right now. Has there ever been a better time to be a Survivor fan?
It's fun.
It sure is.
Fun.
This is great.
It's fun. All right, man. See you later, bud.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Max.